Okay, now just now before class in the morning, we have discussed just the introduction about the servlets, right? And what exactly the web client and web server, all those things. Now coming to the servlets, exactly what is the role of servlets place in the web application? The role of servlet in the web application. Now, before going to understand the servlets, okay, JDBC is a specification. Specification means it contains of set of classes and interfaces. Okay, so that is used for connecting with any database. Okay, so it is the responsibility of JDBC vendors to create their own classes. If Oracle vendor means they'll give one jar file. Okay, so to connect with Oracle database, so we need to add the vendor jar file in our application to interact with the respective database. Okay, in the same way, servlets is also a specification. Okay, servlet is also a specification given by Sun Microsystem. Even that also given by Sun Micros. JDBC API also given by Sun Microsystem. Even this is also given by Sun Microsystem. Okay, so now, again, this specification is servlet specification is provided implementation for this specification by many of the vendors. Many of the vendors. So vendors means whoever provided, whoever provided, whoever provided the implementation for the specification, we'll call them as a vendors. Okay, for servlet specification, the vendors are Apache people, okay, and JBoss people. They are the people, they have provided implementation for this APIs. For this, whatever the classes and interface that are part of this specification, they are provided implementation, and they are giving in the form of some jar files. That how can we identify that jar file means? So whenever we are installing Tomcat means whenever you are installing Tomcat server, along with the Tomcat server, we will get off the servlet API.jar, JSP API.jar. Those APIs are those jar files are part of those installation. It will come along with the software. That we will see that. Okay. Where were those available? Servlet specification is provided by interface, and these interfaces are provided by web containers or web servers. Okay, both are same. Are vendors. Now, a servlet is a server-side piece of code. Okay, servlet is a one code. Okay, and what is the use of that? Class means it will enhance the functionality of a web server. Web server will provide. Web server will provide the function. A web server will give the environment for the application to survive it. Okay, so now the code will be part of the web server. We will deploy it. Okay, and this will be used for interacting with the dynamically. Okay, if any resource want to interact dynamically, then servlet is useful. Okay, now we will write our own classes. Now let's create it. Servlet produces the dynamic web pages. Servlet is a specialized Java class. It is a web component. All these are will call same part of that, some features. Now servlet contains Java code as well as HTML code. Both we can write. But if you are writing both, it is very difficult to manage the web application. We can write, but a later point of time, JSPs are introduced because of for dynamically for creating the web pages using servlets. So people are facing difficulties. That time, Sun Microsystem is introduced JSP. That so before that, what Microsoft team has released .NET. Microsoft people released .NET for developing the web application. That time, so people are migrated to .NET for developing the web application. So no need to learn languages. Okay, that time Sun Microsystem is released JSP's Java server pages. If you are writing that HTML code also, through that if you are writing carefully, we no need to write any Java code inside JSP's to developing the any web pages. Okay, that time JSP was introduced. Okay, what is web container? It is a server software written in Java according to the Servlets and JSP specification. Okay, so this container they have created one server according to the JSP and Servlet specification. Servlet API is the specification and JSP based on this specification they have developed one container or a web server. Okay, it contains of it has a HTTP service, Servlet engine, JSP engine. Okay, now servlet engine or we'll call it as a container. Okay, it is the responsibility of to create servlet. Everything is classes, right? To create object for the class and calling up some default methods. Calling of some default methods like lifecycle methods, init method, service method, destroy method. There are some servlet lifecycle methods are available. Okay, those will be called by the container. Okay, now web server means the Tomcat or we'll call it as a web server. Next, JSP engine or JSP container. So, if any JSPs we have written, if any JSPs that we have written, it is the responsibility of JSP container to execute that JSPs. Internally, that JSPs also will be converted back to Java code. Okay. Now we'll see that also, guys. No worry. Now, software requirements for developing of web application is a web container or Apache Tomcat server. Okay, this we need to download it, and for this we need of Java is also required. Okay, we need of compatible Java version also required to run our server. Okay, along with that IDE to develop of web application. Okay, now let's open up how to download Tomcat server. Copy this link, okay, and go to Google. Just nothing, you can type it, just go here. You can download of the version 9 is there, right? You can download 9.0.73 version. You can download it, the software. Okay, Tomcat server. Okay, now let me show this. Come down little bit. It will give up some files. See, the major they have given multiple things. So you can download of 164 one anything or installer this one. Download this. Yes, this executable file. What you can do? 1 second, someone. Yeah. So this executable file you can 32 or 64-bit Windows Service Installer. So you need to download this one, guys. Okay, you need to download of the last file and open up that file. So it is a executable file, guys. Already I have installed in my system. So just to double click on this, it will open that. Yes, click on next. I have given steps also for that. Apache Tomcat is a open source software implementation of any Java servlet and JSP server pages for executing of any web applications. Okay, and can act as a standalone server for testing servlets and can be integrated with Apache web server. So you can leave it about that one. So let me show you the how to install of that. Once you are downloading that exe file from the link which I have given below, you need to follow the steps. I have given steps here. Okay, I have given. You can give any port number and anything here. Okay, you can give a different one also. It doesn't matter. Click on next. Nothing. Okay. Double click on the Tomcat setup file. Click on next button and click on agree button. Okay. Next, click on next. Enter the port number. By default is 8080. If you want to change the port, you can change the port of the server. Okay, already I have given my server port is 808, some port is there. Okay, you can give any port. Okay, any number and click on enter the username and password here. Okay, and click on next button. Already in my system it is already installed. Okay, I don't want to continue that. Next, select the path where exactly the Java is installed. We need to select the JRE location. For the Tomcat, it is the required, the Java software is required to install Tomcat server. Okay, and then click on go for next steps. I have given the steps each step by step. You need to go and install that guys software server. Okay. Once you finish this one, then it will take just few minutes. That's it. Okay. Do you want to quit? Yes. So once you are done that, click on finish button at the end. You will see in the C drive. Go to C drive. Inside C drive, you can see go to program files. Go to Apache Software Foundation. This folder will be created. Once your installation is finished, then see this folder along with the installation, this folder will come. Okay. Now open that folder. If it is available means, then your Tomcat server installation is done. Your Tomcat server is ready. Now we need to go to the application and then we need to configure this server in our Eclipse ID. That also we'll see. Once it is done, now let's go and yeah. So Servlet specification, I said they have the server vendor is responsible to provide implementation for the Servlet API and Servlet specification and JSP specification. Right. Now let's go and see that specification in server vendor which is installed. Go to program files. Go to Apache Software Foundation. Go to Tomcat 9.0. Go to lib. Okay. Inside this, they have given servlet-api.jar. See servlet-api.jar, JSP-api.jar. These classes must be required. These classes, sorry, these jar files is, must be required to execute of any servlet applications. Okay. Now let's. So I'll show you. Later we need to configure these jar files also in our application. We'll see that. Next, so to start off to develop of any web application, just to create one folder in our any directory. Okay, what I did is I created one folder. Just I created of one folder Servlet Jan website Jan workspace. I created one folder, right? Just copy create the folder and copy that path. Open the Eclipse. Open the Eclipse. In the starting time, it will ask that the path of data. It will ask the path. Just you need to give that path here, whatever you copied paste. For developing web applications, guys, I created new workspace. I'm creating. Okay, click on finish. Yeah, once you open that workspace, it will be like this. Okay, close the welcome. Now it will be the default look will be like this. Next, what we need to do? Go to the documentation, servlet life cycle. Servlet life cycle. So servlet contains any servlet means web application for developing any web application. Servlet is required. So what exactly the life cycle of servlet? What exactly the life cycle of servlet is? So it contains of three methods. Life cycle methods. Those are init method, service method, and destroy method. We will call these as a life cycle of a method. Okay. Now phases means like even this will called as a init means initialization. Okay. Service means execution. Destroy means remove of that and deploy of that servlet. Okay. And one more phase is instantiation phase means object creation of the servlet. Creating object for the servlet by the container, not by the developer. It will create by container will create the object for the servlet. Okay. Now, servlet is a public class which implements a servlet interface. Okay, we have to provide implementation for that. So either directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly means that we'll see generic servlet and HTTP servlets are there. So internally those are will implement of servlet interfaces. We'll see that. Okay. Life cycle of a servlet consists of four life cycle phases and three life cycle methods. Okay, the methods part of servlet, we have three methods: init method, service method, desktop method. These methods are we call life cycle methods. Phases means internally it will create the object by calling its servlet constructor, default constructor. It will be executed at the time of executing the object of a, at the time of creating object of a servlet. Okay, that will call it as a one phase. We'll call it as a instantiation phase. Now where is that? Life cycle methods, life cycle phases. Okay, we'll see guys when it will execute all those things. Now instantiation phase means in this phase servlet class will be loaded to the memory, server memory, and instantiated means object creation. Create the instance by servlet container or web container. Okay, it is the responsibility of a servlet container to create object for the servlet. It is not a developer responsibility. Next, servlet container call the default constructor to instantiate the servlet. So to create object for the servlet, internally container will call default constructor. Okay. Next, default constructor should be public because default constructor, because it is some outside we are calling, right? Default constructor should be public as it is called by the web container. We are not calling, right? Container is calling from outside. So which is outside of the servlet class, compulsory it should be of public constructor. Okay, if you are making any other constructor, the object cannot be created. That is not possible by the container. Next, initialization phase. Initialization means if any data you want to initialize, okay, default data if you want to initialize to execute of any request, then initialization phase will be executed. Okay, that is called init method. Init lifecycle method will be called by the container. Even this also will be called by container, not by developer. Okay, all this will be called by container only, guys. We will not call any manually. Okay, the server will call these methods. Okay, we'll see that. Next, init method call will be called only once in the lifetime of a servlet. So this init method will be called only once. Okay, at the time of first time request handling time. So that time instantiation and initialization will be happened only once, and execute method will be, service method will be executed multiple times. So how many number of requests that you are sending to that servlet, okay, that many number of times service method will execute, but init method will be executed only once. Okay, so first time, from the next time onwards, only service method will be called. In this phase, service life will call this in this phase of service life cycle method will be called by the container. All methods will be called by container only, guys, not by the developer. Okay. Now, service method can be called any number of times. Any number of times in the life cycle of a lifetime of a servlet. So every time you are hitting for one request means it will execute of service method. First time only init method will be executed. Okay. Even destroy method also will be executed only once while destroying the servlet. While destroying, in this phase, destroy method of a servlet will be called in the destruction phase. Destroy method will be, destroy method can be called only once in the life cycle of a lifetime of a servlet. Okay, even first one and last one will be called only once. So at the time of instantiation and initialization time it will call, and deletion time this will call. So between, if you are executing of multiple times, you are sending request multiple times, this will be executed the service phase. We'll see, we'll prove it. Okay, now steps. Let's start off developing first web application. How to develop first web application. Now I have given screenshot also, guys. First go to this one, go to file, go to new. So inside new, after that it is showing of some dynamic web project. Okay, select of dynamic web project. Give any name for this. Give any name for this servlet web application. Servlet web app. Fine, right? You can give of any name. Next, click on next. Click on next. So I have given step by step, guys. So first this one, next, enter the project name and select the target runtime. Select, go back if anything is there, I'll tell you. target runtime. If nothing is there, we need to configure the server. Okay, we need to configure the here. It is not there, right? Let's close it. Okay, don't create the project. First configure the server. So under this, you have seen the one tab called server tab. If you are not able to see this tab, okay, go to Windows section, go to show view, go to servers, go to servers. It will come. If it is you are not able to see that, then once you are opening that and click on go to view and others, show view and others, you can search it and then select that one. The tab will open here. Let's say for example, if I am closing this one here, let's say closed. Now if you are not able to see, then go here, go to others, go to servers and select servers, then server tab will come here. Okay, now click on new servers. No servers is available, right? Click on this. Now make it little big. We have installed the Tomcat server, right? That we need to select now. Where is that Apache? Yeah, click on Apache, expand it. Yeah, select the Tomcat 9 version we have installed, right? Select that version and click on next. And select the where exactly the Tomcat is installed. Go to PC, go to C drive, go to program files. Wherever it is installed, we need to go to that. Tomcat 9. Up to select the Tomcat 9 version, guys. No need of any subversion. Tomcat 9 up to that folder, you need to select it and click on next and finish it. Now see, the server came here. Now we are able to see the server in the Eclipse. Now develop one, create one web application. Go to dynamic web project, create the servlet web app. Okay, in application. So here, see target runtime is, so my application will run in Apache Tomcat 9.0 server. Target runtime. Okay. If it is not selected, select that one. Okay. Next. Click on next. Click on next. Go to and select this one. So click on this checkbox. It will generate one file. It will generate one file that is called web.xml file. We will call it as a deployment descriptor. We'll call it as a deployment descriptor. We'll call this web.xml file. Now click on finish. Now let's see. It is created one project. It is created one web project. See here, right? Now see, this is the default structure of web project. Default structure of web project. Okay, web application. Now it contains of, see, all the web contents. So lib files, web.xml file, all these files are generated one. Okay, from the project it is generated. Now if you want to write any code, we'll write that. Now let's see. After this, go down, select the Tomcat, click on next, click on the generate of web.xml file deployment descriptor and click on finish. Okay, now let's say come down. Project will be created as shown like below. Like this, the project will be created. See, it is of the project, right? Clear? Now, once it is created, next go to come down. So let's create of one servlet class. Let's create one servlet class that will be executed by server. Okay. Now let's create one class. Now, so create a servlet class. Create a servlet class by extending one of the available servlet classes. It may be either generic servlet or HTTP servlet. So any of one of that, we need to extend our class servlet class. Okay. Now create of one class. Okay. Let's create this one. Go to source. Okay. If any package is there, give that package com.ibc. Okay. create a package under. So the source files means Java files we need to write inside Java resources, guys. Okay, under Java resources you need to create the package class login servlet give package as com.ibc. Okay, just to finish it. The class is servlet class is created. Now our class has to extend either generic servlet or HTTP servlet must and should extend it. Let's take it off. Extend. Maybe let me improve the. Maybe you are not able to see general font basic. Just increase of size of the font. I think you're able to see now clear, right? Now extends generic servlet. Okay? Generic servlet. See, it is coming as a generic servlet. Okay. Now, so if you are extending generic servlet, compulsory we need to provide implementation for the service method. There are some unimplemented methods. Just to see, this is a abstract class. This class is extended by servlet. If you want, see public abstract class. See, if you want, see this one. The generic code is this is the one. So it is public abstract class. We can't create object for a generic servlet. So that class we are extending, and that is generic servlet is implementing servlet interface. See, it is implementing servlet interface. Okay. Now let's control Z. Add unimplemented method. See, it is added all the unimplemented methods. Right. Now let's write off our code. Let's write one any constructor public. I said public constructor is required, so it is who is going to create a object. Container is going to create, right? System that tell login servlet write some servlet struc constructor. Okay. Now this is of some. We'll write some code here also. Wait, and I said init method, service method, destroy method, three methods, right? Now write off init method. Init method of generic servlet. Write it. System.out.println init method in login servlet class. Servlet class. Okay. Now let's write off destroy method is also there, right? Destroy method. This is of destroy method of one of the life cycle method of servlet. Okay. Now let's create of one program also for one any XML one some login page something like that. So to read off some data from the file login page. Okay. How to read that? We'll see first. We need to create one XML HTML file so the client can understand only HTML files. Okay. Those HTML files we have to write inside. We have to write inside web content. We have to write inside web content, guys. Now write off under this. Go to under web.xml file. I'll explain about more about this one also. Leave it. Now let's go to copy paste of that login file somewhere. Yeah, login.html. So I'm writing inside one file. I'm writing login.html. Login.html file I'm writing. So there is no much thing here, guys. If you want, I can write also. It doesn't matter. Okay. So how to means? Let me. I'll write first one. Okay. Go here. Right click. Go to new. Here HTML file. Right. Create. Click on that. HTML file login dot HTML. Just click on next. Click on finish. This code is generated. Next, what you want? So just assume of that I want some username and password, some login page is required. Just assume that. Okay. Write up that code. So just assume title is login page. Okay. Just give some page. So here inside the body, in the body, we need to write off some code. What is that means? Here form. So whatever the data that we are entering inside that, whatever the data that we are inserting, username and password, we need to write inside the form tag. It is of web technologies, guys. HTML means that you should be some aware of that. Okay, form. Okay, so when you're clicking on any button, what action it should perform? That action we need to give here. Let's wait. Next, inside that, we need to write off two things. Okay. So, what is the input types? Input, input type. What is the input type of username? Input type of username is text. Okay. Next, give the name for that. What is the name of that field? Username. Okay. Next, so whatever that field that you are using there, so it will available inside. Okay, it will available inside this name. Let's say you are entering some username. That value will be picked by by using this name. Okay. Now next, br. Br means break. Next, input type. Input type. Input type text. Okay. Next, name equal to password. Just assume password. You br break. Next, we need of some button, right? Input type. Okay. Input type equal to submit. Okay. Input type equal to submit. Okay. What is that value for that? The button value is I'm giving as LOG login name. Login. Okay. Now it will give only the box. Now let's run this file, run on server. Okay, or else either single file you can run, or you can run this file entirely, then it will open one page. Instead of that, I want to check this file, then in this case, go here, run on this, run on next, run on finish. So it will open some page. See, only text boxes and one button came, no labels came, username password labels are not coming, right? So for that, what you can do, stop the server. Now you need to give as a username. Okay. Now here you need to give as a password. Okay. Okay. Now run it. Next, finish it. Now this page came, right? Username and password and login. So whatever the name that we are entering here and here, it should be picked from this page by using of these username and password fields is there, right? By using these fields, we need to get the value which we have entered. Okay, that we'll see. Now stop the server. Now develop one servlet. So already you have created servlet. Now we need of now we need the servlet. Go to servlet class. Okay. So I want to read of that information, right? Whatever that we are entered inside that using of that those username and password, that data will be coming to servlet request. That data will come into servlet request. Okay. Now what we can do? Now From this, we need to pick that parameter. So request dot get parameter. What is the parameter name? The login field name. If you want to get, then can take this value, and then in our servlet code we need to use of string here. Then then it will give off that value whatever the username that we have entered. Okay. Now let's take that value into some parameter username. System.out.println also will do request dot get parameter of password. W password. Now to password. Okay. Now system.out.println print that values. Okay. Username. Username. Yes. Password. Okay. This is for printing into console, guys, not to client, not in the browser. Okay. Now, if you want to send anything response back to the caller, okay, then in this case, so we need to keep that inside the response object. Okay. Right. Response dot. There is a method. Write method is there. Okay. Get to write method dot println. Right. Println method. Inside this, we need to write that code, whatever that you want to print to or send back to the client or to the browser. To the browser where we are entering username password, right? If you want to something send back to there, we need to write inside to the response.get writer object. Okay. Now let's write something. Welcome to servlets. Welcome to CR. Let's username and add of that password also. Welcome to servlets. Username is this one. Password is whatever that password that we are entering, it will show there. Now, so whenever you are clicking on, I want to execute of whenever I click on this button. Okay. Here, when I click on this button, I want to execute of this servlet. Okay. There may be some relation we need to give between that button and this servlet. So where exactly we need to give that relation means there is a file called web.xml file. Okay. Inside this file, inside this login.xml file, so action is there, right? Whenever you click on login button, so this action will perform the action. We need to give that action whatever that you want to perform. Let's assume of that login or okay, login. Just I'm giving some login. Now this value we need to go to web.xml file. Go to web.xml file. Inside these are the generated code. This all is generated code, right? Now inside this we need to write off something. By default, welcome file. I want to open up login.html file. When I run my application, by default I want to open login.html page. That's what welcome file list. Okay. Whichever the file you want to open, add that file here. By default, it will open first. Okay. Next. Next is here you need to remember two things. Servlet and servlet mapping. Okay. Servlet contains name of the servlet and its name. Okay. Let's add up. Two tags is there. Servlet. Take it. Inside the servlet, again two subtags is there. Again two subtags. Servlet name and servlet class. Give some name to the our servlet class. For our servlet class, I am giving as my servlet. Just assume I'm giving my one name to my servlet, right? Now, to which class I am giving this name? To the login servlet. Now we need to give a servlet class. Go to this one. Up, taking up this package. Com dot ibc dot here. As part of servlet class, we need to give com dot ibc dot this class we need to give. Okay. Next, so when the servlet will execute, so servlet mapping. Okay, whenever any URL is coming, so that time it will identify of that servlet mapping. What is that servlet? Select of servlet mapping. Inside this compulsory, it must be same. Servlet and servlet mapping, it must be of same. Anything that I missed? Okay. Servlet mapping. It is giving mapping is not complete. Java access servlet hyphen name CBC any XML schema location XSI. We'll see that, guys. No worry. We need to give the name, whatever the servlet name we have here. Compulsory, we need to give off servlet name must be same here. Whatever that we are giving the above servlet, it must be same here. And next, URL pattern. URL pattern of this one is compulsory. Whatever that is there in the login.html, this action is there, right? You need to take this one. Okay, come here and slash give that slash give that. So whenever if you're clicking on this button, it will say the action is login is there. Okay, action is login. So it will come to web.xml file. It will come to web.xml file. In this, is there any servlet mapping tag is available with URL pattern as slash login as login. Then if it is available, then it will take the name of the servlet. The servlet tag contains some name, my servlet. So is there any servlet tag available with servlet name as my servlet? Okay, first it will search for URL pattern. If it is identified, okay, then it will take the name of the servlet. So if it is identified, that take the name of the servlet and it will search in the entire web.xml file. Is there any servlet tag, parent tag? Inside that servlet name contains with the name as my servlet. If it is available, then it will take the class of that login servlet class. Okay, then it will go to this class. First it will create the object of the servlet, and then it will call off the init method, and it will execute of service method. It will process it and it will return back that response back to login data again back to the client. Now let's see. Now if you want to deploy this code, now let's delete here. Now what we need to do, right, select this project, right click on that, go to run as. Before we are executing a Java application, now you want to run this as an run on server. Run on server. Where you want to run? In Tomcat 9.0 server. If it is multiple servers is there, whichever server you want to choose that server. Click on next. Click on next. This servlet object is project is moved here. Next, wait a second. Right click on the project, go to run as, run on server, go to next, just click on finish. See, default this page is opened when I run my project, because my welcome file is given as login.html. Now let's see where my server is running on which port. My server is running on the port is 1234. The port is 1234 port is my server is running. Now let's take this one and go to browser. Go to the browser, any browser, copy paste that and login dot HTML. If you're not default, it is taking that welcome file. See, it is opening up that web page. Okay. If I'm giving as a username and password something, just assume everyday I have given password as a some. Again, I'm give same. So, but password I'm able to see it, right? But password we should not see. Correct or not? If you want that, then change. Go to welcome. Sorry, where is that? Yeah. Go to login.html file. The type is here, right? Input type text. Text means we can see that. Change it to password. Okay. Then in this case, we can't see that. The password which we entered, we can't see that. Let's see enter. Now, now if you're entering also, stars is coming, dots. Okay. That is the, if you're adding here as a password, then you can't see the data that you are entering in the password field. Okay. Now I have entered something, but if you want to see, click on login button. Welcome to Servlets. Username is mready. Password is something is coming. How it is coming? Now first let's understood that. Go to welcome to Servlet. Password is this. Okay. Now stop it. Now if you want to debug the code, okay. Now let's see where exactly it is coming. First it will, let me add here on debug point, here on debug point, here on debug point. Okay. Now let's run the application in the debug mode. Instead of run as, just debug as, debug on server. Select that, next, and finish. See, the server is started. Click on. Now instead of this, go to browser. Now enter some name. IBC test, some username I have entered. Some password is also I am entering. Some password is also entered. Okay. Some password also. Okay. Now if I want to see that, if I'm clicking on this one, what is it is checking? Check the source. Right click on the page here. Okay. Go to view source. So inside this login button, if I click on login button, it is going for this action. Okay. It is going to this action. So it is taking this name and it will go to web.xml file. First it will check in the deployment descriptor or web.xml file. Is there any servlet mapping tag which contains of URL pattern with what is there in the action in my HTML page? Yes, it is available. So if it is available, then it will take the name of the servlet, my servlet. Okay. And then by taking the servlet, is there any servlet tag? Servlet tag which contains the servlet name as my servlet. If both are matching, then it will go to the servlet and it will start executing that. To start executing that, let's see. Click on, go here, click on login button. See, just I click on, but going to debugging mode. See, it is coming. It started here. So do you want to go to debug perspective? Yes. Now see, first it will execute servlet. See, first it is executing of servlet. Go next step. Press F6. See, first login constructor is executed. Next init method. Next init method, it will come. No worry, wait. See, next is init method is coming. It will execute. It is done. Init method is done. Next to service method, it will come. Finish off this. See, it is coming to service method. Go here. Next, print that username and password. Print of. See, username is IBC test and password is okay. Password is see. Again, it will restart. No issue. Now, go on little bit up. One second. Yes, it will come out because I change right my code. Now let's go to, yeah, let's restart, redo it again. Where is that? HTTP localhost. Where is that? Select -web. Yeah. Now mready and test some value I have given. Go here, scheme here, go next, go to F8, init method came, next service method came. What happened? Several ports running. Okay, no issue. Let it be. Username and password is done, and go and press F8. Now let's go and check it. See, welcome to Servlets. Username is mready and password is this one. Correct or not? Guys, whatever that we entered, it is coming. Right? Now, this is of a Servlet life cycle. Okay? Now, guys, if any questions, here you can understand, you can tell me, ask me, guys. If you're not understanding, then I'll repeat it that how exactly from JSP or HTML to Servlet the request will come. Okay? Next, configure the servlet deployment. I have given step by step here, all those things. You can practice it, guys. Next, let me explain about the web.xml file, what exactly it contains. So, web.xml file contains the n number of servlet tags. Now, I have created of only one, right? Let's say if I am creating of one more one more servlet class register, st, register servlet. Okay, now finish it. Extend of either HTTP servlet or HTTP servlet or generic servlet. Let's add for time being generic servlet. Generic servlet. Add it and add the unimplemented methods. Now, if you are creating one more servlet, then we need to register this servlet inside the web.xml file with one more servlet and servlet mapping. We need of again both servlet and servlet mapping. One more copy is required for configuring of register servlet reg servlet. Give the same name as here. Both same must be, and here servlet name is control X. And here change it, and whenever you are changing any URL with reg. Okay, if any request is coming with reg, then this servlet will execute. Okay. Okay, like this, we can create of n number of servlet and servlet mappings inside web.xml file. Okay. Now, coming to child elements of servlet. Child elements of servlet tag is go up. Child element of servlet is servlet name and servlet class. Right? Servlet name and servlet class. Servlet class is the content of this tag should be fully qualified name of the servlet. Fully qualified name is with package. Compulsory we need to give with the package whatever that is there. Fully qualified name package dot with class until that. Okay. Next, servlet name. Content of this tag represent the registered name of the servlet. So the servlet is registered with this name in the container. In the container, the servlet class is registered with this name. Where we'll use this servlet name means we'll use that name in the servlet mapping. We'll use that name in the servlet mapping. Here login name is registered name of login servlet. Now next, web.xml file contains n number of servlet mappings. How many number of servlet tags is there? That many number of servlet tags also must be contained. Okay. Even in this also it contains of servlet name and URL pattern. The servlet name of this tag must be servlet name of this tag must be mapped with servlet name of servlet tag. Content of this tag must be registered with servlet. This name should be equivalent to the servlet name value of servlet tag. That's what I'm telling. Servlet name tag of the servlet will be the same as servlet name tag of servlet mapping for each servlet, each one servlet. Okay. Next, URL pattern. Content of this URL pattern is URL name of the servlet. Whenever you want to read of any execute of any servlet, to execute that from any client, then action is required. Okay, URL pattern. Whoever is calling with this URL pattern in any of the HTML, any of the HTML or JSC classes, then that the servlet will execute internally by comparing that URL pattern. Okay, that's what the first example. Next, develop a HTML file. This one I have given, right? HTML tag, HTML file. It is not Java, guys. This is a pure HTML. If you want, you can go through web W3 schools. W3 schools. If you want, you can go. You can get a more idea from this one. Okay. For getting up some web technologies, you should go this one, guys. Better, so we'll get some idea, basic idea at least. Okay. Next. Okay. Next is compile the servlet. Just whatever that I have explained, I have given verbally here. Okay. Compile all the servlet related class and interface are available in the servlet-api.jar file of the Tomcats directly installation, right? So we need to set class path for that jar file. Okay. To our servlet. How to do that means, so we need to copy the entire directory structure source into web apps folder, or we need to set off the class path for this. Okay, how means, go to our project here. Already the server is added here, right? So it contains of the libraries which is there inside, which is available inside the Tomcat. Otherwise, where is that? Yes, this file is there, right? Without this file, then it is not possible to write. So if you are not, we are configured for this project, the server. So that is the reason it is not giving any error. Else we need to add those jar files inside. How to add is, go to build path. Okay. Go to libraries. Go to add jars. Go to your C drive. Go to program files. Apache Software Foundation. Go to lib, and then we need to select of the servlet hyphen api.jar file is required to compile that file. Otherwise you'll get off some compilation errors, because I didn't get, I have added server. Okay, that's what here. Okay, next, start the Tomcat and access the web application using this one. How to start? So we have to start by using of right click, run as, run on server. Okay, that's what it will start the server. Go to here, go to next. Let me, if any other instance was running. If any other instance were running, no instance is running. The steps I have given verbally here, guys. That's what. Once you are deploying that, just based on your port which you have installed your Tomcat server, so it will open that path automatically. Okay, we no need to enter, automatically it will open in the Eclipse internally contains of Internet Explorer. So with that it will open that. With that, see, it is opened that internally it contains of one browser contains. Okay, so by that it will open. If you want to access from outside also, you can access the same. Next, flow of the servlet. Flow of the servlet. Now how exactly the flow will come from UI to server? UI to, this is of client, guys. We'll call this browser as a client. This browser will call it as a client. HTTP localhost of this will call it as a client. Okay, now server is our application. We'll call it as a server is our application here. Okay, backend, we'll call it as a backend. Whenever any client people are entering their details and click on that login button or submit button or register button something, internally it contains of one action. According to that, it will come to the web.xml file and then it will identify that action, and based on that it will execute the respective servlet. Now let's go to read that. Whenever client send a request for the servlet, okay, servlet, the web container will try to check whether the requested servlet is available or not first. Okay, how to check? By using of register servlet name. Okay, if it is not, then send the message back to the requested server, resource not available. Let's say for example, stop the server. Okay, stop it, remove it, remove it, remove it, remove, and now I am changing to login test. The action is login test and I am started running. Let's run it. The page will open, no issue. Now whenever you are clicking on something here and then there is no action is properly maintained, see, you will get off 404 and exception. Why? Requested resource is not available. You are trying to for login test, but that is not available. Okay, but that is not available to. If you are changing again to the login.html, go to web.xml file and change this login to login.test. Okay. Now run it again. Now test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now see, it is executing. So it compulsory the mapping request must be there. Mapping servlet. Otherwise, it cannot execute that servlet. Okay. If it is not there, you will get off 404 resource not available exception. Otherwise, web container create instance of servlet and calls the default constructor is the first part. First, it will execute of constructor of the class. Constructor of that servlet first it will execute. Next, second step, once the instance means object is created of that servlet, okay, then web container internally it will call init method. Internally container will call off, I didn't call right, internally it will call off init method. Okay, next after init method is finished its execution, then servlet container is it will call off, then servlet is ready to process the request whatever that is entered by client request. Okay, we have entered username and password. For that, the process will be happened everything inside service method. Okay, once init method is finished, now next time container will create a thread for current request. Okay, while executing of the service method, it will create one thread for current request. Servlet request object pulls the data. Servlet, so inside this first parameter is request, servlet request. It will pull the all the data which is coming from the client. Servlet object populates the data which is coming from the client to it. Whatever the data that is coming from the client, that all those will be populated into the servlet request object. Okay, from that, by using get parameter methods, we can get the data which is entered by the client. Okay, next, whenever you want to send the response back to the client, then we need to keep the data into the response object of another object, response object. Then this response object will go to client. Whatever that is there, it will print it. See, whatever that we are entered here, all that will be printing in the console or in the browser. Okay, where is that? Test, testing. Is not what happened? What I did any mistake? Let me restart. Already here it is there, right? Already here it is there. Now let's refresh it. See, from the next time onwards, let's say already server is started, right? Now from the next time onwards, only one time the constructor and init method will be executed only once. If I am entering again with Raju, Okay, Raju, Raju 1 2 3. Just assume. So this time, constructor and init method will not execute. See, only directly the service method will execute. Only service method will execute from the second time onwards. Web container will call service lifecycle method by passing the request and response object which is created in this step. Okay. Once service method is completed, web container will send response back to the client or browser. Okay. Service method is the one which process the client request. Always the client request will be processed by this method only. Okay. Always this will process it. That's what this point. Where is that? Unnecessary. Yeah. Next point. If any new request is come, same request again, 4, 5, 6. 4 is creating a thread and then keep the data which is populating that client data into request object and process the response and return back. These 3 steps only will repeat again whenever any new request is coming again. Okay, not first time, from the second time onwards. Okay. Whenever web container wants to garbage collect or delete the servlet, then destroy method will be called. Whatever the destroy method is there, right? This will be called only whenever you want to destroy the uh, servlet. That time only the destroy method will call at the end of before deleting that servlet. That's what the this point, last point. Okay. Now, URL contains of some parts. Okay, how exactly URL can be constructed? Okay, we are executing here. We are constructing some URLs, right? Now, HTTP localhost. So we are giving up some. We are giving. What happened? I stopped the server. I think. Server stopped. Now, I have started server. So this part contains the URL part contains three things. URL part contains three things. What are all those things? First, let's see. First one, how part. How part means how we are accessing the web resource. How we are going to accessing the web resource means by using a protocol called HTTP protocol. That's what the first one, HTTP. Okay, this contains of HTTP, guys. Okay, this is the default one. Now, if you want, you can see in the browser also it is there right here. See, HTTP is the how part. How we are going to access that by using a protocol, HTTP protocol. Next, the second part is where part, where the application is deployed, where the our application is deployed in which machine and which port. That is the second part. See, localhost means my system, and 1234 is the port of our server. This is the where part. Now, what part? What is the application name and URL of resource? This is the application name, and next is your resource name is login.html. Okay, that is the last part. Project name and what part is project name and URL name. Both is the what part. What you want to execute inside the application. Three part: how part, where part, and what part. Okay. Next. Destroy method will be called by the container before the instance of servlet is going to be destroyed. It is not by anyhow init method and destroy method. All methods will be called by the container only. Okay. If you are calling explicitly, then it is like a normal method, not like a destroy method of a servlet. It's like it will call like a normal method. Okay. Next, how exactly the protocol independent and dependent servlets. Okay. Now we are using of some protocols right here. So I use of HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol I'm using. Okay, there are some different protocols is also FTP, SMTP. There are different protocols is there, right? So I'm using of HTTP protocol. Now So can we use any other protocols? So if you are using of protocol independent, a servlet which is not depends on any protocol, then we'll call it as a independent servlet. So generic servlet is the independent servlet. Okay. Now, next protocol dependent. So, a servlet which is depends on particular protocol, then we'll call it as a dependent servlet. HTTP is purely depending on okay HTTP protocol. HTTP servlet is purely depending on HTTP protocol. It contains of some method, get method, post method, put method, and delete method and options. So, mostly we'll use of these two only. Okay. Now next, go to document. Important HTTP request methods are get and post only, guys. Okay. Even in case of REST APIs also will use even get, post, put, and delete methods will be useful. So even one of the important interview question also, what are the HTTP methods that are available? Okay, then in that case, so which one will be used for which cases, all those things should be in a position to explain that. A get method means if you are trying to get some data from the database or something where somewhere, then we can use of get method. Okay, this is the default method. This is the default method of request. Okay, even though if you are not giving here anything, by default it will add here as a get method. By default it will consider as method is get. Okay, if you are not considering as, if you are adding this as method equal to post, then let's say where is the post means, so there is one more parameter here. Okay, method. See, by default get is coming. Okay, if you then if you are adding get method is, then whatever the data that we are entering here, that will come in the URL section here. Okay, let's say for example you are entered, let's say test, something I have entered. Then let's see, it is coming in the username equal to test, password equal to this value. These are coming in the URL. Once I'm submitting, right? Login. So by default, get method will add those whatever the entered data, it will come into the URL. Okay, that's what the first point. This method needs to specify explicitly. If you want to add post means, then compulsory we need to add here as post. Okay. Next, we can send this request in three different ways: by using anchor link, by posting URL, or by submitting some buttons. By using multiple ways we can send it, but the post method we can send by using only method equal to post. Compulsory here we need to change as post. If you are changing it to post means, then the data will not be adding to the URL. It will be hidden. It will go in the hidden mode. It will not come here. We'll see that. One example also. Let's data submitted or sent to the server will be sent to the browser URL. It will add in the browser. Okay. Data submitted to server will be sent in the HTTP body. Okay. It will not add in the URL. Let's see that. Okay. Now change it to stop the server, and then it will go in the hidden mode. Method equal to post. Okay, just assume. Now restart the server and then try. See here. Now something I am entering here. See, it will not add in the URL. See, it's not added. Okay, it will not add because we are adding as a method equal to post means it will go in the data in the secure mode. Okay, the data will go in the body as a secure mode. It will go. Okay, so the data being submitted using this method is not secure. Okay, by using get method, not secure. So sensitive information like username, password, and credit card details should not be sent by using get method. Okay, data is being sent submitted here is secure. Data that is being submitted is secure, so we can send sensitive information by using post method. Even we'll use of post method only. Okay, even in our case also. Next, By using this method, we can send limited data. If you are using get method here, if you are using a get method, then only some 200 characters or 250 characters only we can get. If you are sending, if you are sending method equal to get means there is some limitation in the data in the URL. Okay, not more than that. So, but in case of post method, we can send off any number of unlimited data. We can send it. Okay, and this means of getting the resources from the server. The get method will be used for getting something from the server. Post method is used for posting something to the server. If you want to create some new resource in the server, then we can use a post. If you want to get some resources from the database, then we can use of get method. Okay. Next. Next is servlet config. There are some classes is available. There are so if you want to store of some information between multiple servlets, if you want to store some data from the some data in the multiple servlets, so these are some classes that are available. So we can be used by the container. Okay, servlet config, servlet context, servlet request, servlet response, HTTP servlet, HTTP servlet response, or the interfaces and web container has provided implementation for this. So this for this all classes, the container people are vendor people are provided implementation for these interfaces. Okay, we'll see them. So where we'll use the select context, where we'll use select context. Okay, that also we'll see one example also. Application with HTTP servlet. Now till now we created one example with till now we created one example with second. Till now we created one example with servlet with extending of generic servlet, right? It is extending of generic servlet. Okay. Now I want creating one more example with HTTP servlet. HTTP servlet. Now let's take it off. One more example. Create one more dynamic project, guys. Create one more dynamic web project. Let's go and how to create. You can see, guys. New. Go to dynamic web project. Click on mm, web app HTTP servlet. Okay. Now target runtime is that only same. Next, next. Select this deployment descriptor and finish it. Now close off all other things. Now in this case, the change is we will discuss the life cycle of a servlet. We'll discuss already we have discussed in HTTP generic servlet also. Here also we'll discuss one more time now. Okay. Now let's copy paste of life cycle of a servlet. Take this, get one class. What is the package that created? The package it's created com.ibc. Go to all the Java classes we should create under SRC Java resources, guys. Okay. Not where you can't create in different locations. Compulsory the Java classes we must and should create under SRC only. Okay. Servlet .ibc and finish. Okay. Now extend of so till now we are seeing of generic servlet, right? Now we'll take off example of HTTP servlet. Okay. Now extends HTTP. Let's see HTTP servlet. There is one servlet HTTP servlet. See, so it is provided a full implementation for all the methods. Okay, it is provided full implementation for all the methods. For our testing, we will add off all the methods. Okay, init method, all service method, all those things. Constructor. Control Shift O. It is imported all the imported of all the things. Now, write off web.xml file. We need to configure this servlet in the web.xml file. Correct or not? If anything that we are entered, let's take it off. Whatever the XML file that we have here, let's take copy paste it, copy and add in the web.xml file. Compulsory HTML file should be under web content only. Okay. Now you can modify of any URL that is. Let's say life life cycle test. Life cycle test is the URL of my servlet, right? Now let's by default do get right. So I'll prove that one also soon. Now let's copy compulsory the name of this action must be in the web.xml file. Correct or not? So let's take it. Remove this login data HTML. Next, write off the configuration for that. Okay, let me copy paste of that instead of writing. Let's copy, take this one, and we'll modify accordingly. Inside this, write off one servlet tag is required, one servlet mapping is required to configure of any one servlet. Compulsory, that is one. Okay. Now, URL pattern of our login.html is lifecycle test, right? Compulsory, this should match in the URL pattern of web.xml file. Copy that URL pattern as lifecycle test, and name of the servlet is let's assume life test. Life C test, just assume. Copy the same, and this also must be same. And the name of the servlet is lifecycle servlet. Copy this servlet, go to web.xml file, and whenever this matching the servlet name, then it will execute of the servlet class which is configured in the servlet tag. Now, what else is done? I think everything is done. Now let's go to lifecycle test. If you want of any default thing, there is a placeholder, okay, username. Then that the text will come inside the password. If you're adding these two, the text will come inside that. Now let's see. Not this. I'm running off a web app HTTP test. Run as. See the project web app HTTP servlet. The project name is different, guys. Before it is a servlet web app. Now the project name is web app HTTP servlet. Okay. Now see already the username and password something is coming here. Those are the default. Nothing is there. It will show that. If you are entering something, it will go there. It is giving some suggestion here. Yes, here is a username. This is the password field like that. It is giving some hint. Okay. Test. Test 1, 2, 3. Here, the constructor of lifecycle is executed, init method is executed, and doGet is executed. Go to our servlet class. So before we have written service method, right? Before I have written of a service method. So always there is a get or post, always service method will execute. But now if we are extending HTTP servlet, then in this case, if it is a method is get in the HTML, by default is a get method. By default, it is a get method. So that is the reason do get is executed here. Two methods. One is do get, other one is do post. If it is a method is get, do get will execute. If method is post, do post will execute. Okay. Now, if I am changing, do get method is executed, right? Do get method is executed and it is returning back to the data. Not this. Sorry. It is returning back to the data, right? Now, let's say for example, restart it, stop it, and change the method here as method equal to post. Now let's see which method will execute. Whether do post method of lifecycle will execute or do get will execute. Before it is do get is executed, right? We have seen that. See, do get method of lifecycle is executed. Now let's run it. And rough. Take this one. Go here. Copy paste. And rough. I'm ready of something I have entered. Okay. Now click on login. See, it is not going into the URL because it is of a post method. So go to check on the log. So do post method of lifecycle is executed. Let's go and check in the servlet where this message is available. It is available in do post. See, is available in do post. That means this do post method is executed. Either do get or do post method will be decided based on the method that we are passing from client. Okay, by default is get. That's what this one. There is no change in the web.xml file. Same thing in the HTML also. It is of same login.html page also same code. Okay. Now this is of creating some sample web application. Okay. Now we need to start and deploy that application that I have shown you already. This I have shown. This already I have shown. Browser. If you want to come here as a center means then we need to use of table guys. Okay. So the thing may be they might be used of see they used of maybe some table or somewhere something to get off these things. Let's see. Yeah, align equal to center. Yeah. Now let's go to align. Where exactly you want of this form should be displayed. By default left. Align equal to center somewhere it will come guys. Where this one? Where it is? Line right? ALIGN line equal to center. Why it is not coming center? Okay, actually we can use of align equal to center means it will come in the middle. It will come in the middle. Let's see. I don't know why it is not coming. Maybe we can use of table also. Okay, leave it about that align. So if you are using of align center means somewhere by using of that table attribute or something, it will come in the middle of that page. Okay, is not that much important. That one that we have discussed. Yeah. Now servlet config. Okay. Till now, normal sample web application we are creating and then starting in the server, and we are validating how the request is coming, the request parameters is coming to the servlet. Okay. Now I told you this is the client. Our application is a backend. Okay, web server. Okay. We are deploying. This is the server. We are deploying our application in this server. Okay. Now servlet config. Why do we need a servlet config object? Why do we need servlet config object means so if you want to maintain some data, okay, between multiple servlets or any specific data that is required for for one servlet. Then we can maintain the data inside a servlet config. Okay, let's say for this particular servlet, for this particular servlet, if you want to add up some information only to that, only to the servlet, while executing the servlet, I want to add some more parameters. Then in this case, then in that case, we can give her some details. Let's go to the document. So when the web container initializes the servlet, it creates a servlet config object. Once that creating of servlet is done, then it will create one servlet config object also for that specific servlet. Servlet config is specific to the servlet guys. Okay. Servlet config object is used to pass some information to the servlet during initialization by getting configuration information from the web.xml file. So for that, the specific information is available inside where the web.xml file contains. The specific when the servlet will execute inside web.xml file, if any URL pattern is coming this one, then it will execute this servlet. Inside the servlet tag, inside this servlet tag, if you are adding any information, we're adding any information of giving some extra parameters, then init param one list is there. Okay, init param name and param values. What is the parameter name is name, just assume parameter value equal to assume of IBC, assume of IBC or company. Company is IBC. I'm giving one parameter name company. So if you want to get up this one, then we can get this parameter by using here. By using here, let's request dot get param of get init param. I think get init param somewhere. Get param or get init parameter. Somewhere we have some init parameter will be there, guys. Not in the request. I think the request config, right? Yeah, sorry. Request from this we need to get the request config first, or else get there is some method get init parameter get servlet config will give off a servlet config object. Okay, config. From this config object, we can get a config dot get init parameter of what is that value? It is configured here. It is of company. Okay, here we need to use of that name init parameter name that we, so whatever the value that is associated to that param value param value or cmp name of the server, print it and and company name equal to add of this. Yeah, now change it to here as a get. Okay, now we can give post also. I have added in the get, right. That is the reason get method is added. Now let's run the project. Oh, got it. Yeah, now it is coming in the center. I'm ready and test 1 2 3. Okay, now click on login. Now see the company name is also coming as IBC. On what basis? Go to and check in the logs. So do get method of do lifecycle servlet is executed. Now go and take and copy paste this where it is available. Go to here, search it. See, it is available in do get method. So if you are giving method is get, then do get method will execute. If you are giving method is post, do post method will execute. Okay. Now in the do get method, I'm giving as from the do get method I'm using the get servlet config is written of config object. From the config object I'm getting of that company value that I have configured in the web.xml file. Okay. Now this is for any specific servlet, guys. This is for any specific servlet. Let's say for example, if you want to configure for multiple servlet, this value want to access by multiple some other servlet also want to access. Just assume create of one more servlet. Okay. Now copy paste of lifecycle servlet to method. Lifecycle servlet to now lifecycle servlet to lifecycle servlet to lifecycle servlet to, right? Now of the server. Now in the web.xml file, configure that one more part. This one configure for one more servlet that is of lifecycle servlet 2, right? Now for this lifecycle of test 2, the name is 2. Just assume. Okay. If I am giving remove this one. Okay. While executing of while executing of lifecycle servlet of 2, I want to get the company name which is available in init param of servlet tag of servlet lifecycle first lifecycle servlet class. Now that is not possible. Now let's run it. That is specific to that servlet only. Second. Restart the server. Server is started. Now I am to define that. See, enter the some name some. Now it is giving as null. This time see life cycle test 2 is executing. Life cycle test 2 is executing. In this case, we are not getting that value because so for the life cycle test 2 class, select class, that init parameter available in select life cycle 1 class is not available. So if you want to make them this is available to either this servlet or this servlet, then we should keep those data inside. We should in the context param inside. Context param, not in the init param. Now outside of the servlet, we need to write it. There is a context param. Context param here, param name and param value will be there. Company name. Okay. Next param value equal to IBC company. Okay. Is it the same? Let's see. Company. That's it. Go to web.xml file, company. Now, if you are executing any servlet, if you are executing of any servlet, now let's say copy paste of this program also one more of 2. Then in this case, it is a 2. The first one is 1. Just assume. Okay. In this case also I need to get off the company name value and the even other case also I want to get. Okay. This is of 1. In this case I am giving as 2 2. Okay. For differentiating that. Now let's stop it. See, now it is executed of first one. How can we say login.html? See even this also. Now if I'm executing of login 2, now see 2 is coming, username 2. If I'm removing here as 2, then 2 is not coming. See, it is gone, right? Now let's say now I'm testing test 2, 1, 2, 3, test 2, 1, 2, 3. So whether the value which is configured in the web.xml file, oh, what happened? Company name is coming as null. What happened? Maybe the way of context param, maybe we need to get as instead of servlet config. What was happened? Context param, right? Company name. Anywhere that I have configured. Any other place? Servlet config name. So do get only, right? Do get only executed. Why this one is not? Think we need to get off a servlet context. I'm thinking to get off servlet context object. I'm thinking here. Let's get servlet context. Now from the context object we need to context means it is for multiple servlet guys. Config means only for a single context. Let me see. Here also config this one. Here also we need to add in the 2 also we need to add same. Here in this place we need to add this one as this one. Now let's say rerun the application. Take this outside, go to here browser. We should get, I'm not sure, let me login dot html. This one login 2 dot html means it should give as username to password to, right? Let's enter of test 2 1 2 3 and here as password 1 2 3 something. See, the name IBC, company name is IBC is coming where exactly? Outside of servlet that we have configured it. Outside of servlet that we have configured. Even this can be accessed for first servlet as well as a second servlet. Now let's try for a second servlet. First servlet. This we have tried. Second servlet. See. Now we'll see for a first servlet also whether it can be accessible or not. Login dot html test testing. In this case also it is coming. See, it is coming of even in this case the context name, company name is coming as IBC. In this case login lifecycle test, before it is lifecycle test 2. Okay, that means that if you want to get any data for multiple servlets, then we need to configure those data inside servlet context. We need to configure. Yeah, see that given if for every application servlet context is created by the container only once. So select context object is used to get configuration information from the deployment descriptor, that is web.xml file, okay, which will be available to any servlet or JSP that are part of the application that can be accessed in any servlet can be accessed the data, okay. So whenever the deployment of web application is successful, container will create servlet context object. Context will create, config will create, both will create and populates the all the context parameters into this context object. Whatever the data that we are created in the web.xml file using context param, all this data will be loaded to context object at the time of creating object. Okay, and context parameters can be supplied to web application using context param that we have seen. These are the things, parameters. This example created here. Maybe you can create your own application by copy pasting this one, guys. Okay, and I will share the one workspace also, whatever that projects that we are created. Okay, it has created two servlets which extending of HTTP servlet, guys. Okay, two HTTP servlets and configuring of data between two servlets. This is the example. Now servlet collaboration. Now servlet collaboration. How exactly one servlet is going to interact with another servlet? Okay, how one servlet is going to interact with another servlet. So that will call it as a servlet collaboration. Okay. So if you are clicking on login button, if multiple servlet want to execute from one servlet to another servlet, then in that time we need of the collaboration. We need of collaboration that we can share by sharing the data as well as by sharing the control. Okay. So without sharing data, if we can transfer the control from one servlet to another servlet, with the data also we can transfer the control. Okay, now that we'll see one example also, servlet collaboration by sharing the data. Okay, request, session, servlet context, we can keep the data inside these three scopes, guys. Okay, so say request scope means until that request, let's say if I'm clicking on login button, until finishing of that action, login action, so the data will be there inside request object. If you want to store in the session means then entire application, so until you log out, if you want to keep some data in the session, then we can keep that data inside the session object. Okay, that is what session. Next, servlet context, even it is also like a session. So entire application it will contains maintain the only one data like session only. Just assume like it is a session. Okay, now servlet uses attributes concept to set the data. Yes, this is what set attribute and get attribute. Which one? Request dot set attribute, request dot get attribute, session dot set attribute, session dot get attribute. Okay, if you want to remove attribute. Okay, three methods is there: set attribute, get attribute, remove attribute. For setting the data, set attribute and key value pair, and for getting the data, key. For removing the data, key is enough. Okay, now we'll see one example, guys, for this servlet collaboration by sharing control. Let me go for one project, create one project, new dynamic web project, servlet collaboration. Servlet collaboration. Next, add this and finish it. Stop the server. Servlet collaboration. Now let's instead of writing the code, let me copy paste from other workspace if it is available. If it is servlet workspace, collaboration is there. Request dispatcher. Yeah, request dispatcher project. Request dispatcher project. Go here. Let me take off this employees data. Paste it under servlet collaboration. Go to under SRC. I'll explain these classes, guys. No worry. Okay, it's not copying. Let me form.ibc create one package form.ibc finish it is the classes. Okay, I created some classes. Now next, all the any pages, yeah, home page, lives, write of these HTMLs, go to web.xml file. I'll show you this guys, no worries. Next web.xml file, we need to configure of that all the servlets we need to configure it. Oh, all are commented. Oh, good, super. Maybe so they went for approach of different approach. We'll see that also. No worry. Now, what they have done might be here. So first, let's index.xml file, right? That's by default index.xml file. So I have created what is one form is created with some field. Just assume. So inside that one text box name I have entered and click on submit. So and action is going as first. So that means it will check the first servlet. Maybe they are using here I used as a annotation part. I'll enable this one. For reducing of XML configuration, we are using this. For time being, I am commenting this. I'll show you again this part. Yeah, the first servlet is action is first servlet. What is the first servlet work? So internally, it is getting the name of that whatever the value that we are entered. Else, let's start the application here. Yeah, let's start the. Oh, sorry, where I commented. Sorry, I commented in different place here. Mm, This one. Next is this one. Just I have commented in the web.xml file. All the first, second, third, all is added. First login servlet, register servlet, first servlet, second servlet is added. Let me start it. If error is coming, we'll rectify it. No issue. Save all. Next, start it. First web.xml file will start. So when I'm entering some name here, I'm entering some name IBCR Ashok. Just assume. Okay. When I click on login or go button or go here. So when I click on just assume as Ashok. So when I click on go button, it is the source is what is that? It is action is first. Action is going as first method is get, right? Go take first, go to web.xml file, go to web.xml file and search for first. Okay, slash first, slash first it will search it. So if it is there, then what is the name of the servlet? One. Is there any servlet name which contains servlet name, servlet tag of servlet name contains one? If it is there, then it will go to the servlet. Go to first servlet. First select do get method. It is a get right. Do get method is started executing. First parameter it is taking whatever the value that we are entered. Right. First select name is name entered. After that request dot set attribute of my name equal to whatever the name that I have entered in the text box. That whatever the value here, right? Where is that? Yeah. Here, the same value it will come to, I'm setting in the request scope until that request is finishing, that will be available in that scope, request scope. So request dot set attribute my name equal to I have given here. And request dot get session. I am getting session object. Even in the get session, I am giving company name is IBC. I'm keeping two. One is request. In the request, I'm giving as my name. In the session, I'm keeping as my company name I'm setting. Okay, and I am forwarding the request. I am forwarding the request from this servlet to another servlet by using of request to dispatcher method. Request dot get request dispatcher of slash second slash second. It will check in the web.xml file. Control F slash second. Is the release servlet URL pattern with second. Now let's see. Is it there or not? Yeah, it is there. Yeah, slash second. If it is there, it is identifying the name of the servlet. Name is servlet name is available. Both are matched. Then it is taking of second servlet. Go to second servlet will execute. Second servlet do get method is started executing, and it is taking of request at get parameter equal not equal null. Get that value. Okay, and get that value. Next, from the session also I'm getting session I kept as company name. If in the session the value is not null, get that value and print it. Both the company name as well as name, both I am printing. Okay, now let's run it. Click on go. So welcome to IBC and ISOC. Company name I given as where the first servlet company name I given as IBC. Company name equal value equal to IBC. Okay. My name equal to I given as Asok. Okay. It is forwarded to second servlet, and the second servlet is executing this one, and it is sending that response. Response at get writer of println of welcome to the company name IBC and the name equal to Asok. That's what it is coming in the browser. Okay, let's say if I'm executing of some other one, login.html, login.html. Now let's login dot login dot html. Okay, I given as login.html. This contains this table contains username, password, along with that one link for register. Click here to register. That hyperlink is there, right? It is not a button, it is a link. Hyperlink, we'll call it as a link, as a anchor link, guys. Okay, now if you click on that, it will go to this html file. Okay, if you want, so it is going to some different html file. Okay, now go back. Let's create of this one. Let's add of Venkat. चलिए, password is also, last name is also Venkat, username is Venkat, L last name, Venkat U username, Venkat P password. I'm giving some something, some password is different. Venkat at gmail.com. I'm giving some name. Okay, click on register. Registration is successful. Registration is successful. Now let's go to check the registration servlet. Register servlet. So whatever the data that that I'm adding. Let's see, I'm adding inside username, password. Not this is the register servlet, right? Username, password is added. That I'm adding into some employees data. Okay, good. I'm adding into some file. Now let's if I'm trying to log in, if I want to log in, right, somewhere it is available. Let's take it off this one. Now login servlet is there, right? Yeah. So if the both are matching, username and password. Okay. I don't remember what is the password that I have given, guys. In the login servlet, I'm getting of all the init method. I'm getting a init method is to load the data. So in the init method, I'm getting the data from employees data file. It is loading from here. Static data I have loaded, and that data I'm getting from this method. And where is that? Login servlet. Close others. Here in the do post, why it is do post means in the login.html method we given as method equal to post. That is the reason the do post method will be executed. So inside this, if the username and password is correct, the username and password is correct, then it is doing of some validation. My name, which is added in the previous, that will not come. It will come as null. Next again, company name we are setting in the session. That name will come for until our server is stopping. That value will come. Okay. Now let's take some employees data one. We'll log in and then we'll see Rakesh, Sai, Ashok, IBC 321. Ashok, IBC 32. Ashok, IBC 321. Login. See, welcome to home page means that means it is successful. Okay. Now let's say login data HTML. So if I'm giving as one more, if I'm giving, let's see if any other logic that you have written. Yeah. Now if we are giving as a different one, something. Now let's see what are the things will come. See, invalid username and password is coming. Okay. Let's create one more. Test 123 is the test 123 first name, username, password, and gmail.com. Now register it. I'm entering never username, password, login. It is giving, if both are valid, then it is giving success page. That time internally check it is. So company name is coming as always. Any number of times that we are hitting, that where we are configured in the initial time, in the first servlet, we are keeping inside the session until the server is stopping. This value will come in any servlet, any place. But the value which you are setting inside this request.set repeat will come only for this page, not in any other pages. That is the reason the name is coming as null. Okay. Now the request dispatcher is used for dispatching the request from one controller to another control with data or with control. Okay. That's what this one, guys. Request dispatcher, dispatching or delegating the request from one servlet to another servlet or HTML or JSP called request dispatcher. So it not only to servlet, so it can be of another servlet, another JSP or another HTML. It can be of anything. Okay. And forwarding the request from one servlet to another servlet or include the servlet with another servlet. It is of like just to forward the request means. So in this case, we can call up that forward method. We can call this forward method. Include means whatever the data that we are processed here, along with that it will go. Okay. Include means two methods will be there. One is include, another one is see, include is also there. Servlet request, servlet response. Here I am using forward and include. Both method, two methods is available. So if you want to forward the request, then forward along with some response you want to send or include, then you can use of include method. That's what request dispatcher include. Next is redirect. Redirect means if you want to redirect from one page to another page, one page to another page. Let's say from my application, if I want to redirect to Google, just assume that if I'm calling of a third servlet, okay? If I'm calling of where is the third servlet it is calling? It is third somewhere, anywhere in welcome. Yeah, let's say in the welcome file, okay? Yeah. Welcome file, let's run it. Welcome.html will execute. It will open one page. I will not do anything. Just to send a redirect method, I will use it. Welcome dot welcome.html. See, it is of what a welcome.html file contains. It is of one name parameter with the name and submit button as go. Okay, and action is third. Action is third is there. Now go to here. Where is that? Sorry. second. Where is that? 1 second. Let me. Yeah. Here. Take this. I'm giving us something name or Ramana. Okay. Now click on go. What happened? Name Ramana. Resource not found. 1 second. Third is not available or what? Let me. Third. Go to web.xml file. Sorry, I think not this one. Here. Go to web.xml file. Third is not there or what? Let me see. Third is not there. Let me configure third. Okay. So I'll for third I'll configure of through annotation. Through annotation I'll configure whatever the URL that welcome dot is there, right? This third. So I'll configure this annotation. I'll configure this action by using annotation. Go to in the servlet. So there is annotation called at web servlet. Okay. URL pattern one sub attribute is there. You need to pass off slash third. This is equal to adding of servlet and servlet mapping both. That single annotation is equal to the selection which I have selected in the 38 to 45 line. The single line. The single line is equal for that. Okay. Now let me use of that. Now we'll stop it. Go here and restart. Go to console. Not here. Let me start it. Run as run on server. Finish it. Servlet collaboration. Go here. Welcome.html. It is coming. So let's say I'm giving as copy and click on go. Where it is going, guys? It is going to Facebook page. How it is going Facebook page? So I'm redirecting. Where I'm redirecting? In the third. So whenever I clicking on third, it will go to the third servlet. In the third servlet, so do get method I'm doing of response dot send redirect of moving to this URL. So that is the reason it is opening of Facebook login page. If you want to configure of some other page, let's say Instagram login. Okay, there just assume of some login page. I'm taking this one and configuring into my code. Instead of login Facebook, I can configure of this one. Now let's stop and then restart it, and then it will redirect to close this one. Close this one. I'm not doing anything, guys. Just http welcome data http localhost host 8080 slash what is that? Is some servlet. 1 second, let me take that path. Here web.xml welcome.xml file, right? Welcome.html file. If I'm giving has puja, okay. Now click on it, will go to Instagram page. See, it is opening of a Instagram page. So directly. So that's where the send a redirect method will be used for redirecting one page to another page. That will be used. That's what this one here. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what for today's class, guys. If you are okay, I will take in the evening class, guys. No worry. If you are okay, else tomorrow morning I will take it. Whatever that is pending in the servlets, I'll finish and I will give the JSP videos also, guys. Please go through the JSP videos, okay, before coming tomorrow morning class. Tomorrow morning I will start the class in the 7:30 or 8. Okay, guys. That's what tomorrow I'll explain. So creating project using Maven. Okay, that's a web project. And then after that we'll go to discussing this one. We can go to JSPs. Okay. Yeah, that's what for today's class, guys. We'll meet again in the tomorrow morning. Thank you, guys.